Travel, let's be honest, it's humanity's favorite hobby. A grand experience and watching ourselves to look ridiculous while nature laughs in the background. Picture yourself on the Tokyo train platform, packed tighter than a tin of sardines. Your bag stuffed with essentials you mostly never touch. Tourists from Spain, Brazil, and Canada shuffled past, checking maps, snapping selfies, desperately trying to prove to the universe, we matter. You clutch, grip, grab, crucials, your guidebooks as through the temples, shrines, mountains will suddenly whisper life's meanings to you. But no, the train is late. The rain falls sideways. The maple leaves that dazzles and crimsons the deep blood. Yesterday, today's soggy confettis under your feet. This, my friend, is the comedy of travel. Still starring as you, with nature as a merciless, cruel, unseen director. And yet, we endure most of it by laughing at ourselves, or at least pretending to. You slug the struggles, toil down the slippery streets, shoulders aching under the backpacks that could double as a small children's, inhaling a chaotic mix of street food, exhaust, fumes, smokes, and your own mild panic. You repeated the mantra motto. This is the essence of travel. In truth, the essence is a cocktail of the exhaustions, minor injuries, getting lost in alleyways, and the laughable delusion that your personal existence might somehow ripple meaningfully across the world. Your Instagram post show golden leaves, temple gates, bathed in morning sun, sparkling through coastal seaside waters, but they omitted the blisters, the soggy socks, the rice balls eaten under the harsh fluorescent light, and existential the dread of realizing you were as irrelevant, unrelated as a single grain of sand in Kyoto's garden. And here's the cosmic punchline. While you were whispering to yourself that atop the 1,000-meter peak, I've conquered the world. The world outside your frames continues at its own incomprehensible pace. Iran negotiated an corridor's highway you never walk. The United States and Israel strategize over maps that makes your schedule feel hilariously petty. And Russia and Ukraine wage a war that devours every minor inconvenience you've endured. And yet, your mind is consumed with whether you're selfie as a centered nature, uncaring, the wind shakes the trees, crowds afloat wherever they please, Cherry blossoms drift lazily to the ground, leaves tumble, snow melts, rivers swell, and every carefully rounded checkpoint of your journey reduced to cosmic sound in different soundbox. Yet, travel rewards us anyway, in strange, absurd way. There's Kyoto at dawn. Kiyomi's there is a temple, stones are steps, entirely yours. Mist currents cut twistings around the pagoda. Cherry petals, flowers drifting like confettis, paper bit, and a silent wind. Pure, Latings, absurd victory, over a tiny fishing village in Tohoku, with winter waves clashed violently, fishermen laugh through the cold and offer you miso soup as if survival itself is a joke you were not invited to understand. Suddenly, your whinings, mornings about being tired, your obsession with the schedules, your fear of missing the next train, it all seems hilariously trivial. Or emerging at deserted southern beach, the sun bleeding onto the horizon, waves murmuring a language you do not speak, days of plannings, missing trains, awkward hotels, they vanish, fade, disappears, leaving the only a silver of war, wonder, amazement, and the spark of humility's humbleness, modesty. Meanwhile, humanity at large continues its own absurd theater. Drone strikes harm over desert. Cyber negotiations tangled over pipelines. Russia recalibrated its military moves. Ukraine dug in. Iran and the US play at a high-stakes chess game. Israel keeps its own shadow movings, and still, you are photographing crimson the leaves, measuring your relevances against the geologic and poetic scale where you barely register. Travel teaches the brutal truth. Human effort is simultaneously monumental in feelings and art, meaningless in context, and yet it's exhilarating. You laugh at your absurdity while marveling at the fleeting beauty around you, knowing full well that the world does not care whether you arrive on time or how well you framed your hotel. And this story is a reward of long journeys. The clarity that your existence is small, your worries are laughable, yet you are alive watching experience, however briefly. The cherry blossoms will fall, The autumn leaves will fade. Snow will melt into rivers. Civilization will continue to maneuver, conflict, and plot, indifferent to your Instagram feed. Yet, in these tiny, ridiculous pages, watching the sunrise over Mount Fuji, savoring enjoy, appreciating a piece of soup from a stranger's palm, laughing with tourists lost in translations, you find a life's absurd poetry. Looking ahead, it's hard not to see patterns repeating on the global stage. Tension on the Middle East, particularly between the Iran, the US, and Israel, suggesting ongoing high-stakes diplomacies, possibly punctuated by moments of startling escalation. Meanwhile, the Russia-Ukraine war may linger longer than anyone dares to predict, shaping Europe's security and reminding travelers that their minor frustrations pale in comparison to real geopolitical forces. One could almost see the humor you curse amidst trade and while nations maneuver across continents in ways the mind shapes the next decade. Nature continues its indifferent march. Geopolitical acts their own unpredictable choreographies. And you, tiny outside, laughing as wonders beneath falling leaves, snowflakes, over scorching sun. And that is Blackly Comics, exhilarating the trace of travel. Your birthdays, your confusions, your selfies, uttering insignificant. And yet, they mattered to you. The sunset, the mountains, the winter seas, they remain as beautiful and fleeting as ever. A universe indifferent to your agenda. You learn that life is a theater of effort and futilities, uselessly pointless, set to the backdrop of nature, the interests, unending the canvas, and humanity is chaotic, geopolitics is a force. Travel is a rehearsal for observing all, fatigue, absurdity, foolish irritationity, fleeting triumph, and the world called indifferent, spectacularly, amazingly comic role. You laugh, you marvel, admire, and you inch forward, fully aware that no matter how careful you plan, both nature and global affairs will sweep your petty victories into the sand. And somehow that is enough. Trouble is humility, absurdity, war, and when you look closely, black humor stitched across time and space. It is the ultimate reminder that while the world rages, shifted, and recalibrated, you can still pause, smile, and marvel at your ridiculous fleetings, brief, short passings, absolutely human existence.
took a lot of time to get here. これ見て、こういう写真撮っちゃうオリンピック